Hi, Earth Signs. I am here with your August 2019 general outlook. This is a general reading, so those of you who watch my readings frequently, you know I always say this, take what resonates and toss the rest. You may also want to check other aspects of your chart, such as your moon, rising, Venus, etc. You can check out all the videos and see if any of them resonate and go from there. So this is a very exciting time. I went into this a little more in depth on the fire signs video, if you watched that, as well as the soul connections one that I just posted. But the energy has been very intense in July, and there's a lot of things that are clearing and lessons and things that are coming up and things you're being guided to do that are maybe kind of surprising. So we're going to see what comes out for earth signs in this reading, but I have a feeling it's going to be kind of a similar dynamic that we're seeing sort of across the board. And all I have to say is it's kind of a mind-blowing time. I can't believe it's almost August. That's really probably the craziest part of all this, but it's just this energy, the clearing out, it can be very painful, but it's ushering in some beautiful new things. So just remember that. So we're going to use the Star Tarot, probably my favorite tarot deck that I have, traditional tarot deck. Earth signs, angel spirit guides. Nice clear channel for message for the collective for earth signs for August. I like it. And you guys saw me shuffle. This came out, I think it came out in the Divine Feminine. Ooh. All right. You guys will hear why I'm saying that in a minute. All right. Oh, man. Ooh. There's some heavy energy going on. All right. Okay, so what I'm getting is exactly what I guess I was foreshadowing for what was going to come out. This is crazy. But I was saying just now in the intro that the energy in July has been extremely intense. It is forcing us with all these eclipses and other celestial things that are happening. It's forcing us to clear out things, karma and people, places, and situations that no longer resonate. I think many of us are ascending even more into different vibrations and frequencies. And so there may be friends, family, romantic relationships, or paths that you thought you were on, and you're being guided. It's like that doesn't resonate anymore. And so it's extremely painful to face that, number one, to trust your gut that it's what you need to do. But in the end, I mean, I think that's part of this last challenge. It's kind of like, are you ready? Can you admit you're wrong, let go of your ego? Not necessarily wrong, but just the energy shifting, and follow what your intuition versus maybe what your heart had set on. It's like, what is the soul? The soul knows deeper than the heart, right? The heart chakra is very important, but the soul is in a different, your higher self, your soul connection. Once you start to bridge the gap between the 3D and the 5D, I don't know where this is coming from, but these are just things that once you start to bridge that gap and you're looking at things from a higher perspective, it's kind of like, whoa, I'm now up here, and if I'm stuck because I can't go back, but other situations aren't ascending with me. So I can't keep getting pulled down. It's like you have to cut that cord. So anyway, now let's get to the cards. So the first card that came out was Ace of Wands. Passionate new beginning, manifesting. It's, for me, this, I feel like, is a fast moving card. I think this is August, to me, is what I'm getting, very soon type thing. But the blocking energy is Five of Swords. It's the thing that you're wanting to end, right? You've got this situation that is just, it's breaking your heart. It's heart wrenching to try to decide, if I'm going to go forward on my path, this is blocking me. This person, this situation, job, whatever it is no longer resonating. It is holding me back. It is just throwing swords in the heart. It's not uplifting anymore. And so there's this, I'm sensing that you earth signs have come into balance. Two of Pentacles, you've been coming into balance with your higher, again, this higher self, lower self, whatever you want to call it. There's sort of this bridging the gap between two worlds. And now you're at this juncture where it's like, all right, I just heard it's go time. It's go time now. The Chariot, yeah, that would explain why I heard it's go time, because the Chariot is the foundation energy. It's like this energy in July is kind of, it's urgent, it's painful, and it's forcing us to close out things that are no longer on the path. And you're wanting to end this. There's been some of you maybe have been in a three-party situation, maybe kind of realizing, hey, I was on one path, but there might be a soulmate that I want to, that I'm getting drawn into this other energetic alignment with someone else. And it's causing heartbreak, and it's caused a lot of conflict. And it also could just mean that whatever this is, you're doing in your life, it could be a job situation that's just draining you emotionally, and you're not fulfilling your soul's mission. And it's kind of holding you down. So there's this urgency of, this conflict that's been brewing for a while. I feel like in July, there was a lot of conflict with trying to figure out which path you're going to take, because you're thinking, well, I've been guided for however long on to one road leading me to a certain outcome, even though, you try to detach from it. You think you're on this path, and then you start getting this strong urges in your soul. And it's more than just it's not an egoic reaction. It's different. I think I talked about this, I want to say in the fire sign video. I think everything's kind of blurring together, but it's not an egoic reaction to where it's like, hey, you're hurting me, you're stabbing me, I'm just going to go get into a different situation. It's different. It's this knowing that there's something else that is meant to come into that space that you filled with light now. You're attracting in new things, right? And so there's this conflict, kind of like, well, is this another test? Am I not supposed to look at this because I'm still supposed to be at this? It's definitely a crossroads. But what I'm getting here, if you guys, some of you may have already faced this and done this in July, but for those of you who haven't, obviously I'm recording this reading at the end of July, and if you're watching it now, this might be some things you need to do to move the energy forward in August. But I think regardless, if you're in the situation, if it's resonating, where there's some things that you need to, a path you need to choose, or you need to close out something, this energy, this Chariot energy, this fire, this wands, this is going to force it to be closed out. That's what's going to be happening in August. And see, you've got the World. You've got the World and the Two of Swords. And the interesting thing is, let me see, which card was that? The Five of Swords or the Three of Swords? The Three of Swords card. Okay, see how the Two of Swords has the sliver moons on it? The Three of Swords, the sword that's in the middle, like stabbing her right in the head. Well, it's probably in the back, but it looks like the back of her head has the two moons on it. And I think this is the realization where it's like, I have to make a decision, and it's breaking my heart. But it's there needs to be closing out of a cycle. I mean, look at how these look like crows or ravens here. This is about closing out a cycle, and it's extremely painful because it's causing a lot of anguish. Nine of Swords. It's causing a lot of anguish. But once this happens, you're going to start having something solid develop. Okay, Knight of Pentacles. Now, it is a slow moving knight. Don't get me wrong, but there's movement and it's solid, tangible, physical. You know, it could be a job, it could be a romantic offer, it could be, I mean, any of those things. And because the Pentacles, it's just the riches. You know, I'm just hearing the riches. I mean, you've got kind of everything at your grasp. Magic. I mean, I see, I mean, there's just all these, I don't know if they're fireflies or just magical orbs, but this knight is connecting to the divine. And it's like once you followed your intuition, your soul, and you close out this stuff, you're going to have movement forward. It's time to go forward, not back. And then at the bottom of the deck, we've got Temperance and Justice. And Temperance is about healing. It's about patience too. But I see it as about balance. I mean, look at, you've got the moon and the sun, and you're finding the right path. You're finding that balance between all the things that you want. Emotion and physical time and balance if it's a job situation, just work-life balance. That's what I'm getting. Justice is about balance as well. So I think whatever situation it is that you're being called to close out, there was never give and take. You're being overworked, or you're overgiving to a friend or a family member, you're being used, or you're throwing your heart and soul into a romantic situation that's going nowhere. And I think what's, you know, seeds are developing. Seeds have been planted. Oh my gosh. Seeds have been planted. Seven of Pentacles. Your new beginning is here, right? Your new beginning is here. You just got to get out of this energy. You've got to resolve the conflict and close out whatever the cycle is that has to end. Because look what's coming. Two of Cups and movement, because the Hanged Man was upside down. It was in reverse. So, I mean, yeah, I'm even seeing by the next full moon, there could be some sort of, I mean, offer, movement. Something beautiful is coming. It's just that eclipsing, you know, it means cutting shit out. Excuse my language, but that's what it's about. And sometimes it can be hard to trust the signs. It's like, are you being drawn back to somebody here in Mercury retrograde time? Remember that we're still in that until the new moon on the 31st. But if you're being drawn back to somebody during Mercury retrograde, you know, it's going to be one of two things. You're either going to be reuniting with them, or it's going to be the same old cycle repeating itself. And you're finally going to be like, all right, it's time for me to close the door on this. I'm done. So that's maybe what you're being called to do. I mean, I think if this is resonating, you've got other opportunities that are waiting. You've got to clear the space for it. And that can mean many things. That can mean in your heart space, your head space. It can be your time. It can be decluttering, you know, literally physically clearing your space. So with that being said, why don't we see too if there's any, I'm getting that this is actually a person or a situation more than clearing. I mean, there's always clearing that's good to clear, you know, our shadows and face our wounds and things like that. I'm getting this as, you know, some sort of a toxic cycle or situation that keeps repeating itself, and it's time for you to cut that shit out. I mean, look at that. Oh my gosh, we got 1, 2, 4 swords cards. And honestly, probably the 3 other, I mean, of the swords, the suit of swords, and other than the Tower, I would say we've got the 3 most painful cards in the spread. 3 of Swords, 5 of Swords, 9 of Swords. Because the 9 is, you're in it. It's you're being called. And 9 is kind of an energy of solitude and self. And I think it's like you've got to reflect on yourself and be like, why am I staying in a situation that keeps doing this to me? And at some point, you know, if you're on a spiritual path, you're growing and you're learning from it, right? But if that person or that job or whatever it is meant to be on your path and to stay, the situation is going to grow and evolve with you as you ascend. It's going to, it's going to go somewhere. There's going to be some progress. There's going to be some sort of growth on both sides. But there hasn't been. It's been unbalanced in the past. It's been unbalanced, whatever the situation is. And so you're being called now. I mean, with this major arcana, temperance, chariot, justice, the world. This is the hangman in reverse. It's time to take action. Time to take action and cut this shit out. You know what? I am going to pull a Twin Flame Shadows card just to see if there are any shadows that are maybe being mirrored to you in this situation that maybe that, you're not facing. Let's try it. Vengeful and uncomfortable. I think it's uncomfortable for you to face. It's awkward. It's, you're afraid, maybe some of you are afraid if it is a toxic situation that person is going to get violent with you. If so, then, you need to talk to somebody. You need to take appropriate steps to try to extricate yourself from that situation. If it's a situation where you're not physically with the person, in a household to where you'd have to, deal with moving and obvious things like that, it might be better to just not say anything, just kind of walk away and not talk to them anymore. Just see if maybe they will leave you alone. I mean, if it's a narcissist, a lot of times they will. If they're not getting their supply and you just don't respond to them, that's the way to get them to go away. But yeah, if you're afraid that they might get violent, just try to take proper precautions. I'm just getting that message. We're going to do the butterfly. Oh, I'm dropping cards. I don't know what just happened. Since those just fell on the floor, I'm actually going to pick those up. That was really weird. I just happened to nudge them, and they fell off. Okay, so these are actually very beautiful. Be yourself. The situation calls for you to be your authentic self, which is the basis for your personal power. So the situations that you need, you're not living your truth, speaking your truth. You're not able to be the true you, because you're ascending. This person is holding you back, because they're not growing with you. They're not growing with you, but you know what? There's someone else. Your Ace of Wands, your Ace of Cups, your happy ending exists. Your reality, you just have to ascend into it. You have to get into that vibration. And when you get in that vibration, stuff is going to shift really quickly. Your desire is within reach. That's what I mean. Like I said, these things just have faith as everything is working in your favor. So I know, this swords energy is very painful, but you cannot grow when you have, I'm getting the image of like ivy or vines, like spiraling up, like you're ascending, right? You're ascending, you're expanding and growing and taking off, and this stuff is like clinging to you and trying to pull you down. At some point, if it's not blossoming on its own, right? If it's not blossoming on its own and supporting you, if it instead it attaches and drags you down, there's something else, that's meant for you. You got to take those swords and cut it off. All right, let's see what we got. Butterfly Oracle by Doreen Virtue. Spiritual growth. It's part of your spiritual growth. These are lessons that are part of your spiritual growth. To have to face that, oh, okay, I got to this certain level on my journey and I thought this was my happy ending. I thought this was going to be my path. And one of the things that I think we're being asked to learn is that let me backtrack here. If you didn't have the guidance that you had on your journey to start with, as far as whatever outcome you were trying to manifest, were hoping for and praying for. If you didn't have that as a carrot dangling in front of you all that time, believing that was going to happen, would you have done the work? Probably not. So I think that's what part of this was. It's like those cycles served a purpose to get us to grow, to ascend, to let go of baggage from childhood, even into past lives. And so you reach this precipice and you get here and you're like, oh, and then you realize, well, wait a minute, this might not be the reality. But then you realize, do I really want that? Maybe it was a fantasy all along, right? With that, because you're seeing that person or that situation isn't growing with you, then you realize you've gotten to a point where you have the power to manifest what it is you want. And at the end of the day, it may look a heck of a lot different than where you started. So I think that's a beautiful message. Of course, you may have sentimental feelings for that person or situation. I mean, that's normal. That's why, it's hard to let go, but it's absolutely necessary. And once a lot of the things I've been sharing on the page, on my Facebook page this week, have been about how rapidly things, when you let go, especially during the Mercury retrograde, when you let go, and all these eclipses and all these things, when you let go of these things that no longer serve you, because your trust and your faith is so strong and you know that there's better things out there, stuff's going to start happening really fast. Trust me, it's going to be, I think August is going to be unbelievable. All right, let's get a message. Speaking of August, the Lionsgate portal opened. Very excited about that. We're going to see, these are the Gateway Oracle cards by Denise Linn. We're going to see what message for Earth signs. Oh, that's funny. I think this one came out in the Soul Connections reading, and I've been shuffling, you guys. So I'm going to try another one. A couple more. All right. Making a difference. My inner light shines far and wide. So this is about, raising your vibration. Once you cut out this toxic stuff, your light's going to be like a beacon, attracting what it is you want. Embarking on an adventure, I savor the wonders of the world. I think it's just, this is another, it's like you think you've reached a certain point, but you're just now, it's like now taking off, right? You thought, oh, okay, I'm going to climb this mountain and this is where I go. And then there's my pot of gold, there's my happy ending, whatever. I'm going to climb the mountain. You get to the mountain, you're like, what? Where is it? But then you realize that wasn't the destination, right? That wasn't the destination. You get in a hot air balloon or whatever else you want to think about, and you're going to go up even further. But this time, look at this. You're not climbing a mountain. You're not using that, exerting yourself. Not to say that it's going to be easy, don't get me wrong. But I'm finding the letting go and the cutting out of this stuff is a heck of a lot easier, and I wouldn't have been able to face it. I wouldn't have been able to face it like previously, or deal with it. And I think slowly over time I have faced certain things. That's what this journey's, the more you let go, it changes your perspective. The more you ascend, the less you get, your emotions. I don't know. It's just you can become lighter, right? And so you get to the top of the mountain, you think I'm here, and then you're like, no, wait, there's a whole nother world waiting for me. And it's going to be even better than what I imagined. What I thought was here, it's now stabbing me, it's dragging me down. This is where I'm going. Emerging into grace. I open my soul to grace, right? It's like you're in the slumber, and then you start realizing, oh my gosh, this is what I can do. This is where I can go. There's so many other places. So it's really a beautiful thing. It's really the message I'm getting. Let's see. I'm going to pull a couple other cards. The Energy Oracle. We're going to see what message for Earth signs. Whoa, whoa. Okay, there's a bunch that want to come out. All right. So a man holding a heart, that one flew out. So for some of you, there is an offer of love coming. Once you close this door on something else, I mean, remember we saw the Two of Cups come out with the Hangman in reverse? I mean, there is something coming in, and like I said, it could be something that you never dreamed possible. And then we get patience in action. That's, oh my God, you guys, you cannot make this shit up. I don't know how many times I say that. Look at this. All right. The Chariot was the foundation of the reading. Action is this oracle card, and they're both black and white horses. I mean, movement. And you get the 717, which if you're on the beloved spiritual union path is a very symbolic number. Yeah, those came out, and then we had temperance and patience. So divine timing is at play here. There's still some things that need to be done with you closing out these cycles, but shit's moving. Like, I mean, you're being called to this is taken off, right? You are being ushered and forced to face some painful things because you're very, very close to missing this. And I'm not saying, no, but you're not going to miss it. But I'm just saying that the urgency is there's some reason why we keep getting, we being, me, other readers, about Lionsgate, about this time of year, Leo season, we're being forced rapidly to deal with some things. And it may be painful, but my gosh, doesn't it feel good to let it go? It absolutely does. So I hope you enjoyed that message, and hang in there. I'm going to try, hopefully my day job is, it's gotten a little bit better now that we're out of July. It's still crazy, but I'm hoping with all this energy, Lionsgate and those types of things, that I'll be able to do more videos if I can, or at least posts, and try to be there for you. If you have any, questions as far as your personal situation, you want a reading, that information is down below. Like I said, I will try to post on the Facebook page as well. So hang in there, Earth signs. There are definitely beautiful new beginnings ahead. We just got to get through these swords. It's time to cut it out. Take care.